Today, I want to talk to you about energy and how we can navigate the world of energy. This whole episode was inspired by a conversation I had with some friends about going to the thrift store and buying outfits and then wearing them and thinking about the energy of the people who were wearing them before you and whether you would take on some of that energy or not. This sparked a whole conversation online on my social media as well. On Instagram, we talked about it, and a bunch of people had different answers to this question. Some of them said they would never thrift because they don't want to take on anyone's energy. Others were like, maybe I would take my sister's clothes or my friend's clothes or from someone I know really well. And, we got a whole range of answers in between. And so I wanted to spend this episode talking exactly about energy. All right, so let's dig in and let's see how energy works. Now, as a medium and an intuitive healer, I work very closely with energy. And so is it true that we might take on or absorb some of the energy of the people who were wearing the clothes before us that we bought from a thrift store? Probably, yeah. And I'll tell you why. Think about this. When you go to a spa and they have the clean sheets and the clean rooms with the incense and the candles and all that beautiful music playing, there is a certain vibe going on there. They're trying to make you feel welcome and make you feel at peace and calm. And it works. You do feel calm in a spa. Unlike maybe in a rock concert, like you wouldn't go to a rock concert to meditate, right? Because the energy there is different. The energy is loud and it is, just a different vibe altogether. And so energy does impact us on a day-to-day basis, whether we are in a monastery or in a prison, whether we're in a temple or a place of worship, or we are in a loud, crowded marketplace. We take on energy from the things around us, from the people around us, from the places around us. And we've all felt it. Sometimes you walk into a room and you feel like, oh my God, there's something about this place. It just makes me feel really good. Or you meet somebody who is completely, positive and uplifting, and you feel so good in their energy. You want to spend more time there. And sometimes you meet people who are constantly whining and complaining and toxic, and you feel the difference in the energy. You don't want to spend time around them. So I think energy is definitely real. What do you think? Let me know when you're listening to this in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But also let's talk about if energy is real, right? How do we then protect ourselves from negative energy? How do we save ourselves from taking on other people's energy? I guess one way is to not go to thrift stores, but really, can we save ourselves from energy that is not good for us? Because, there's all kinds of people around us. Some have really good high vibing energy, some are down here. Same thing with places. Some places have great energy inherently and some don't. And there are some benefits to taking on some of the positive, good energy, right? Like I know I have this winter hat that I took from my grandmother's things when she passed. And every time I hold on to it, I feel a little closer to her. Or I find these handwritten notes from my dad sometimes, and they just bring me so much peace and joy and connection. And I feel like he's right here with me. And so there is an advantage to having energy exchanges, if you will, in the world. But what we really want to talk about is, are we aware of the energy that we are putting out? Are we putting out uplifting, positive, radiating energy that lifts people up and makes them want to be close to us? Or are we putting out negative, low vibe, toxic energy without even realizing? So that's the first thing, right? And the second thing is, if you are susceptible to taking on people's energies very easily, or if you start to feel drained when you're sitting around people who are constantly gossiping or having negative conversations, then there's a leak in your aura and you need to protect yourself and strengthen that aura. I don't usually talk about this stuff, but I want you to think about it, right? If energy is real and if we take on energies and give off energy all the time, then it makes sense to want to protect it, right? So, for example, if you took a clear glass of water, right, and you dropped in a tiny droplet of black ink in there. Now, this big glass of water is not going to get completely darkened by that drop of black ink, right? It may get a tiny bit muddy, but if you don't tell anyone and you mix that water, somebody might not even realize that there was something in there. And that's the analogy that I want you to think about when you think of your energy and your aura. If your energy is crystal clear, like that clean glass of water, taking on a tiny bit of negativity won't even touch you. It won't even impact you in the smallest way. But if your water, your clear glass of water is not so clear, it's muddied up already, and you're hanging out around people who are constantly putting dark stuff in there, then you'll have something to worry about, right? And you have to wonder if it's going to be so much easier for you to take on other people's dark energies. And dark energy is not always negative or bad. Sometimes grief energy can be heavy, right? Worry energy can be heavy. Anxiety energy can be heavy. Stress energy can be heavy. So who are you hanging out with? If you're hanging out with people who are constantly stressed and worried and anxious and, complaining or whining or in that victim mindset, then you're taking on that energy, right? You'll find yourself feeling drained after conversations with such people. So you would need to then learn how to protect yourself, right? Just like also think about how a doctor, right? If a doctor goes into a hospital room that is spick and span, sanitized and cleaned every day after every patient, the doctor doesn't have to overly think about this, right? He just goes about his business, he or she just goes about his or her business, checks the patient, puts on his gloves, whatever, and then tosses the gloves, and they're done. Easy peasy, right? But if they're in a war-torn area where there's like tents and mud and sand and all of that stuff, and there's not enough sanitization equipment available, then this doctor will have to be extra careful to make sure that they are clean and the germs are not getting on them, right? Maybe they put on an extra mask. Maybe they wash after every patient instead of just removing the gloves. And so it's very, very important to know the environment you're in, right? So number one, be aware of your energy. Number two, be aware of your environment, right? What is the energy that you're surrounded by? Now, we can take that a step further with the doctor, right? If there is a highly contagious disease that's being spread around, it's likely that the patient will be quarantined, and now the doctor has to suit up completely to go and spend time with this patient, right? And the doctor can't take any chances. So sometimes when we are amongst people who are completely surrounded by heavy energy, we have to be extra, extra cautious, right? Now, number three, after you've checked your own energy, you've checked the environment that you're in, the third thing you need to do is understand how to protect your energy. So I'm going to give you one simple tip, but when I work with people, I give them all kinds of toolboxes to take with them. And, if you hang out with me, you will learn all of those. But the one tip that I'm going to leave you with today is this. Before you go out into a extremely crowded environment or an environment that typically drains you because of the heavy energy there, picture this. Visualize a bubble of light around your whole body and imagine it going around your body 3 times. And then say out loud or in your mind, I'm putting on this protective shield around me, the shield of love and light that is going to protect me from taking on anyone else's energy that does not serve me. So when you say that 3 times, you are not only affirming to yourself that you won't take on this energy, you're also creating this energetic shield that protects you and your aura from getting depleted by these people, right? Because energy always flows from top to bottom. So if you're high vibing, there are people around you that are low vibing. They're going to take your energy. It just is a law of energy. It's not something that you can control. And this is why we also feel good in nature, because nature is always high vibing, always in harmony, always aligned. And so we always feel good when we're in nature. The thing with nature, though, is that because it's in harmony, the energy of the trees and the plants and the birds and the butterflies are always synchronized and always protected, right? Unlike our energy, because we live around EMF, radiations from our computers, electronics all over our homes, negative people, negative places, clutter around the house. All of that adds to the energy depletion of our bodies. And if we don't constantly work to bring it up, we're going to be depleted and drained. And you I don't know if you wonder ever, but sometimes I used to wonder, why am I always drained out? Like, why am I so drained when I haven't done anything? Like, my energy would just be like sucked out after I did like a workshop or, taught a class or something. And so I had to learn how to protect my energy. So I would now, whenever I'm going out into a crowd or when I'm about to give so much of myself on stage, or even recording an episode like this, which I know is talking about energy, I have to put this protective shield of energy around. And then when I'm done, I will cleanse my energy by using something as simple as sage. I'll light it up, I'll just move it around my body, I'll use it in my room, and I'll cleanse out the energy. If you are not a believer in all of these things, I say just try it, because I didn't used to believe it either. And when I tried it, I felt the difference, right? Something as simple as decluttering my table or saging my office just helped me feel better instantly, right? And it could be placebo, but hey, if it works, try it, right? Try it, explore it, and see how you feel, because once you do it and you experience the benefit of it, you will be so glad you did. Okay, so that's my tip for you to cleanse and protect your energy. So remember, 4 things that you need to do. Number 1 is to become aware of what kind of energy are you bringing to the table. Number 2, what and who are you hanging out with? What kind of energy is around you, right? What's in your environment? Number 3 is to protect your energy before you head out. And number 4 is to cleanse it after you come back. And I'm going to leave you with one last tip, which is the most important one. Number 5, use your intuition before you head out. If you're going to borrow clothes from somebody, ask yourself, is this the right person to borrow from? Is their energy good for me or not? And then do it based on that. And then the same thing with people. Do I want to hang out with these people? Are they good for my energy or not? Listen to your intuition. It will never guide you wrong. If you struggle to tap into your intuition or listen to it or want to practice more, reach out and I'll talk to you more about how I can help you do that. And of course, when you're protecting your energy and cleansing it, look up different ways online and ask your intuition, what is the best way for me to protect my energy, right? And then as you get in touch with that inner wisdom, you will learn how to do it the best way for yourself. My answer to everyone, always, to any question is, what does your gut say? What does your intuition say? So that is the most important tip, right? Because we cannot avoid being around negative energies, and we can't completely isolate ourselves. Just like you can't protect yourself from germs, you can't protect yourself from negative energy. It's everywhere. So what you need to do is raise your vibe, uplift your own energy, and make sure that when you do go out, you don't get impacted by any negative energy. All right? So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you've practiced, what works for you, and if you have any questions for me.